In this chapter, you will learn how to model stairs and railings in Revit. I'm gonna use a commercial template for today. Before starting this chapter, let's talk about different components of a stair in Revit. So here are the different components of a stair. So we have top rail, handrail, these two posts, and these are balusters. We have thread, nosing, and riser, the whole stair run, and the whole riser, landing, and stringer or support. Okay? So they were actually what we needed to know for now. Okay, so in Revit, there are two main ways to create a stair. One, which is older, is a stair by sketch, and the other one is a stair by component. Sometimes you may start with a stair by component and then convert it to a stair by sketch. Revit used to have a stair by sketch and component as two separate tools. However, they are combined right now. So let's see how we can create a stair. So you can find the icon here in the Architecture tab and Circulation panel, the stair. Okay, just select it. And like the other commands in Revit, we have some types over here in the type selector, and you have the ability to edit these types from instance or type properties, make duplicates, modify them, and many other things. If you want to draw a stair, you just need to select one of these types. And as you can see here, the run is selected by default, so you just need to click and it's all done. Okay? Or you can use just one of these shapes to create a stair. For example, I'm going to use this one and then just draw a stair. Okay? Well, actually, drawing a stair using this method has some limitations. And although you have some options here to create stairs with different shapes, you won't be able to draw a stair with a weird or very custom shape. So in this case, you may want to use the sketch tool, which is not a separate tool actually. It's just inside the stair tool we use. Let me delete this for now. Okay. And then just come in again. So here we have a pen that we can use to sketch a stair. Okay? And so you can start with either boundary or risers. I'm going to set the boundaries first, and actually my first click would define the bottom of the stair. Okay? So I'm going to pick the second point. I'm going to uncheck the chain and draw the next boundary. Then I'm going to add risers. Okay? And as you can see, while you're drawing a stair, Revit actually tells you how many risers are created and how many are still remaining and you need to add to get to the next level you want. Okay? So I'm going to add these risers. Okay. And then just hit the green check. If I go to 3D view, you can see the stair. Okay. Now let's get back to level 1 and take a look at stair properties. Okay. So I'm going to choose a stair. And okay, let's see what we have first in instance properties. So from here we can actually control the base level of the stairs. So right now we want it to start from level 1, and we can set the top level from here. So we want it to go up to the roof. Okay. So here we can change the desired number of risers, and this is actually calculated based on the height between levels. So Revit calculate this for you, but if you want to change it, you can. So if I want to have, for example, more stairs but with shorter risers, I can increase the numbers here and then hit apply, and you can see the actual the actual riser height here. So if I increase this number and hit apply, you can see that actual riser height decreases automatically. Okay. Now if I go to edit type, here we can control the minimum and maximum riser height, tread depth, and run width. Okay, and in construction section we can set the run type and landing type. For example, right now the run type is 2-inch tread, 1-inch nosing, and 1/4 inch riser. So one thing about stair properties is that by hitting edit type, here in the first properties window, you can access type properties for the entire stair. But also you have this option to go into type properties of different components of a specific stair type just by going one step further and deeper here. So for example, here we can edit the run type. So if I click here, it takes me to the type properties of this specific run. Okay. So, and again, I have this option to duplicate these properties and change them according to what I want. So from here, I'm able to control many things related to the run component of the stair I choose. So for example, we can control tread thickness, tread profile, things related to nosing, and many other things. So for now, let me just hit cancel. So it's just like Windows and Windows, and you can control and change many properties this way. So here again, we can access landing type properties. Okay. So here you can see that right now everything is just based on the run type. But if I uncheck same as run, then I would be able to change settings related to landing. So for example, if you want the landing to have a different nosing profile than the run, you can change it from here. We have actually multiple options, so I'm going to check this again because I want it to be the same as the run. Now let's get back to the main window and see what other settings we have here. Okay. So here again we have another type properties here, and this time it's for supports. Okay, so if you go inside, you can, for example, change the structural depth on landing, or depth on run, or flip section profile, and or just you can change the stringer section profile from here. Okay, so this is set to default right now. You can change it from here. Let's cancel this. You can change the right and left supports from here between a carriage and a stringer, or you can select none. Also, if you want to add a middle support like what we have in some stairs, you can check this. Okay, and the middle support actually can only be carriage type. You also have the option to have only a middle support, so you can check this and then set these two to none. Okay, this one and left support if you want to have only the middle one. So you can go over these properties yourself and see what other options we have in here. So I'm going to just close this and get out of everything. I'm also going to delete this one. Okay, and now I'm going to start inserting a stair to see what are the actual components of a stair and how we can modify them. So first, go to the level that you want your stair to start from. So I'm going to choose level 1 for now, and then select the stair tool from here. Choose the type that you want from here, and always check the base and top levels from instance properties. Okay. Also, in options bar, we have location line options. We also have automatic landing that I'm going to check this. And I'm going to set the location line to right. Okay. So, and then pick the first point for drawing the stair. And if it's, for example, in a stair shaft, I'm gonna draw half of the risers, so you can see the numbers in gray here. Okay. And then I'm gonna click next, and I'm gonna just draw the rest of those. Okay. So we have a total of 20 stairs here. Well, now that our stair is created, again using the tab key, we can cycle through different components of the stair. Okay. And as you can see, I'm still in the stair command and have not checked this green button yet. So I'm able to select these individual components of the stair. So I'm able to select the landing or runs, any of these runs, or even the supports, okay, these ones. So now if I want to edit any of these components, I can. So for example, I can grab these grips and extend the landing, okay, or I can shift the stairs toward this side more, okay. Or if I select a support, okay, here from instance properties, I can change the lower end cut and choose one of these. Okay, so you can find the difference between these three options on the page 8-8 of the book. Okay. Now, in our stair, the first landing, this one, was created automatically just by checking the automatic landing option in the options bar. But if I want to add an additional landing manually, I can do that. Okay, so I just need to click the landing tool here and then select the sketch tool and make sure the chain is checked. Okay, and then start drawing your custom landing. So I'm going to start from here. And then just hit this green button. Okay. And that was created. Well, actually in Revit, we have other options to edit a stair component like this landing. Okay. And one way is actually to convert it to a sketch-based element and then edit the sketch. So we are going to use this convert button over here. Okay, just pay attention that as soon as you click this convert button, it's done, and this process is irreversible. I can only get back to the previous mode using Ctrl-Z. So I'm going to just convert it to a sketch-based model or element. Okay. Now that this button edit sketch has appeared, well, I can edit the boundaries of this landing. So for example, let's hit the edit. And then for example, I can use this arc tool. Let's see. not this one. Okay, so just to edit the boundaries. And then hit check. Well, I need to delete this first. Okay. Okay. And then hit this green check. Okay. Well, actually hit this twice. And it's done. Okay, so anytime you wanted to edit any part of this stair, you just need to double click and then you will get into the edit mode again. Now let's switch to the 3D view while in the edit mode. So here you can see the stair was created. Now if I decide to add another run to my stair that starts from here and goes to the top, I need to check the height of this landing first and make a copy of that and use that for creating our new run. So just select the landing, okay, and copy the relative height from here and go to level 1 again. Now let's first edit the sketch of the landing so we can add another run to it from this side. Okay, so I'm gonna edit the sketch. Okay, so we're back again with this shape. And now to add a run, just select the run. And in here, instead of the stair, select new stair runs, okay? So then just paste the value we copied in here, okay, for the relative base height, so that our new run starts from this height, okay? And for picking the first point, you need to actually pick the inner side of the support, okay? So these components are going to be connected properly this way. I'm going to choose this again, run relative height. I'm gonna select one. I'm going to change this to center and just click from here, okay? And then draw your stair. So as you can see, the numbering is again from 12 to 22. Now hit the green check mark and go to 3D view. So you can see the stair. And this is the last run we just created. Next topic we want to talk about is stair annotation. So obviously we need to go to Annotate tab. And we have two annotation tools related to the stairs. Well, let's switch to level 1. Okay, so one is the stair path and the other is thread number over here, okay? Just remember that whatever tool you use on this annotation tab is view specific, okay? So the stair path will add the arrow and up and down text to our stair. And actually Revit does that by default when you create a stair. However, if you add a new level to your plans, then you need to add this manually. And if I switch to roof, and you can see that down text here as well, okay? The other annotating tool is the thread number, okay? Which actually enumerates the threads in a run. So you just need to select it and then just select the runs you want to see the numbers on. So you can click on either side of the run or in the middle, and actually that's it. So you can do this in section or elevation views as well. So go to south elevation, for example, and then you can add those numbers here. Okay. Well, next I'm gonna go over the railing section. Okay, so this is just an introduction to railing system in Revit, and it's good for you to have an understanding of different types and components of stair railings. So previously you saw that when we created this stair, the railing was added automatically, but we are also able to create those manually, for example at the edge of a mezzanine or a ramp or anywhere else. So if you go to Architecture tab here in the Circulation panel, you can see that we have this railing tool and its split button. So we have sketch path and place on a stair or ramp. Okay. So before starting to create a railing, let's go to the roof or top level and then create a floor. Okay. So I'm gonna draw a floor here. Okay, now if you go to 3D view, so you can see that we have a floor here. Okay. Now let's switch to the roof level again. Okay, and then I'm gonna choose railing. And again here from the type selector, we can select different types. For now, I'm gonna use guardrail rectangular. And then we want to see what properties we have. So go to edit type. So here again, we have the ability to change the settings related to top rail, handrail, and for now, just go inside the top rail type. Okay. Here again, you can duplicate these settings and modify them. You can change the top material, or you can just change the profile from here. So let's cancel this for now. So here in the main window, you can adjust the height of the top rail and handrail type and position. Okay. So let's go to the handrail type. So here, in addition to terminations, we can add supports to handrails. For the top rail, actually, we don't have supports and we only have terminations. So you can find the image of handrail support and top rail termination on the page 8-17 of the book. Now let's cancel this dialog. Now we have two other properties in here, and these are rail structure and baluster placement. And with these two, you can control the vertical and horizontal elements of a railing system. So let's cancel this right now and select another type of railing. I'm going to choose pipe this time. Let's first create one railing at this edge of the floor we created before. Or actually, it's better just to edit this rail that we have over here and extend it to wherever we want. Okay, so we need to select this railing, and yes, it's pipe. So I need to click on this button, edit path from the ribbon. Okay, and then I'm gonna use this simple line tool, and I'm make sure the chain is active. Okay, so I'm not gonna turn right at this point, because that way the join and connection will not be perfect, and Revit actually will show me an error. So I'm gonna go actually in the same direction a little bit, and then turn from this point, okay? And then just hit check. So I'm gonna move it a little bit, so let's move it and hit check. Okay, now go to 3D view, and we have our railing here. So I'm going to select it. And as you can see, we have selected the main railing. Okay, so actually the top rail and the handrail over here are two other separate elements from this main system. So if you want to select those, you need to hit tab, okay? And then you can select the top rail or handrail. Okay, for now, just let's select the main system, okay, and go to edit type. So you can see these two settings over here, rail structure and baluster placement. So in rail structure, we can control the horizontal or parallel elements of a railing. But in the baluster placement, we can control the vertical elements. So if I click on edit in front of the rail structure, this window pops up, and this rail structure dialog actually defines all the horizontal or parallel elements of a railing system. So these 7 rows and rails actually here correspond to these horizontal elements of our main railing system, okay? So you can adjust their height, their profile, and material from here, okay? So again, top rail and handrail are not included in this table. Now let's cancel this and select baluster placement this time. So in this window, we can see 2 tables. Okay, the one at the top is related to the main pattern of vertical elements of the railing. And the one at the bottom actually is related to the start, corner, and end posts of the railing. Well, let's click here and open preview section. So this main pattern are vertical structural supports of the railing system. Okay, so right now they are 4 feet apart. If you want, you can make this distance less so they get closer. And if I change this, for example, to 1 feet and hit apply, you can see the difference here. Okay, so here at the top column, we also have the option to tell Revit I want them to go up to, for example, rail 3 or rail 3, for example, and just hit apply. So you can see the difference. Or again, I want them to go to the top, actually to the top rail elements. Okay. So we can control these options from here. And if I want to make changes to the railing post, then I can come here and we can change, for example, the profile family from here. So for example, I can change this start post to, for example, 2 feet round profile. Okay, and then hit apply. And you can see that it has changed. And here in the middle, we have another option which we use when we want to place balusters in our stairs per thread. Okay, so for example, I can check this and say, on each one of the threads I want 2 balusters to be placed. So you can find an image showing this on the page 8-22 of the book, so I'm not going to expand on this more. So let's cancel this. Okay. Well, the other thing I want to talk about is handrail. Well, a handrail in Revit actually comes with a railing type, and you cannot insert it using a separate tool. Okay, but if you want to have a handrail only without a main railing, you can do that by editing a whole railing system. So some main options related to handrails are profile, material, extension, terminations, and supports. Okay, so let me show you this picture. For example, we have handrail over here, and this is actually the extension for the top rail, but we're going to talk about the extension for the handrail. And we also have supports for the handrails. So let's get back to Revit. And now let's first extend this floor from this side and add a wall over here. So I'm gonna double click and edit this edge. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it's enough. Okay, and I'm going to add an interior partition. Over here. Okay, let's go to roof. Okay, so for example here, I don't want the entire railing to turn at this point and get to the wall. Okay, so I only want that for the handrail. So now I'm gonna do the adjustments so you see how we can do that. Now let's select the handrail and go to edit type. Okay, now you can see that this is actually grayed out. Okay, so and that means that we haven't unpinned the handrail. So the first thing you need to do to edit a handrail is to first select and then unpin it. Okay, now you are able to go to the type properties, and remember that again, any adjustment you want to make here, you can create a duplicate of this type and then do that. Okay, so I'm gonna skip it for now just to show you what happens if in this situation specifically, for example, I do not duplicate this handrail. First, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. And here we have options for extension styles and to add terminations and supports. Okay, so I'm gonna add extension to the end or top of the stair. So I'm gonna choose wall, and then I'm gonna change this to 4-inch. So let's hit apply and see what happens. Okay, so you see this extension just showed up. And if I change this from 4-inch to 1 feet, for example, you can see the difference. Okay. So you also have the option to change the extension style to floor. Okay. And let's see the difference. Okay, you see, it's just get to the floor. And I'm going to change it to wall again. And I'm going to change this to 4-inch. So just hit OK. Okay, now I need to make some adjustments here. Okay, and this time I'm going to use this tool over here, the Edit Rail. So while selected, click on Edit Rail tool at the top. Okay, and then click on Edit Path. Now you can switch to floor plan. Okay, and then you just need to grab these and pull it until it hits the wall. Okay, and then check this green check. Go to 3D view, and you can see what we have over here. So there's still one other option that I want to show you here, and that's actually termination. So I don't want this connected point to look like this, so the handrail needs to be attached to a plate at this side of the wall. Okay, so go to edit type again, and here I'm going to add a termination at the end or top, and then I'm going to click apply, and you can see that here. So just need some adjustments. So I'm going to use I'm going to actually edit this rail a little bit again. So I'm going to choose edit rail, edit path. I'm going to go to roof. I'm going to move it a little bit. Okay, so you can see that better right now. Now, if I zoom out, well, you can see what happened here. Okay, so we have this extension and termination for all the handrails I created in this model, because I didn't duplicate the handrail when I wanted to modify that. Okay, so be aware of this and make duplicates whenever it's necessary, not all the times actually.